what's funny about it is that when we were there, it was, people who were basically cosplaying gangster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People with the low riders cosplaying gangster. And then
the spinny rims.
the spinning
remember
rims.
The spinny,
I remember the spinning rims. Yeah, a few years. That happened a few years after we left there. Those spinning rims.
Okay.
And then when we got in contact back with those guys, it was like 5-6 years later. We're hearing this guy went to jail. This guy is selling drugs. This guy is a blood now. Like, what?
Oh, jeez.
When did the Bloods even get down there? What happened?
They're gentrifying. The Bloods are gentrifying.
I was like, how did that happen? And, but of course we heard about, teachers messing with students. And I was like, yeah, I saw that coming.
Yeah.
Those teachers, yeah. But, yeah, it was way different now. But I do want to go back, check it out, and see what it is, because it was one of those small evangelical towns, and I always viewed it as, I think if I stayed there, like my father wanted, my dad always wants to stay there, but if I stayed there, I'll be a completely different guy. I'll be a black Republican probably.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, because we were going to a white evangelical church, so it was always one of those churches like, back then the enemy wasn't Muslims. Back then the enemy was Chinese and atheism. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
The Chinese and atheism, those were the enemies. Those were the ones who were saying we're going to take over America and change it all and do all this, that, and the third. And then when Obama got elected, it was completely different. Now it's the Muslims coming to take over America.
That's really interesting that, like, without social media, because without social media, I guess I don't want to say nobody knew, because obviously you knew, you were there, but I feel like for me, that is a shocker that China and atheism were the enemy there. But yeah, it makes sense. Pre-social media, how would I hear about it? I wouldn't hear about it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that's crazy. But now, with social media, they're all on the same page. They get their marching orders. They
get their marching orders, exactly.
Yeah.
Now they're hearing from, back then it was all AM radio, Limbaugh.
Oh, yeah.
People like that, you know what I mean? And, he will tell you the enemies were, of course, the Satanists, the gays.
The globalists.
Yeah, I mean, and the Chinese and atheism, those were all the enemies. Now it's the atheists, the gays. they roll back around. They roll back around.
Oh, no, but now they got to throw some new stuff in, right? The trans.
The trans.
Ooh, pronouns.
Those scary pronouns that we learned in 3rd grade are now the enemy.
Yeah.
Insane. Anyway, let's go ahead and start this up, y'all. Hey, y'all. Right. Welcome to the Weekly Dump, your number one source for number 2 political commentary. My name is Volcy, and I am joined by my co-host, Producer Steve. And just to let y'all know, we did not plan the green shirts, and he's the evil twin. All right, he's the evil one. Yeah.
No. We've got PT at 0400, so we got to get out of here quickly. But this show, listen, you guys are in for a treat. This show, we've done so much research over the last week. We're going to be covering Iran. We're going to be covering some of the Dem primary races.
Definitely.
There's one going on tonight. We might actually see some results, so super excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. And of course, we got our technical director, Chris, and director of photography, Jonathan, in the booth. Y'all make sure to support those guys. We love them. This is episode 6. All right, so let's just go ahead and
let's get into it.
Get right on into our first story. All right, so our first story for tonight. You may have to clip this.
Yeah, we're going to go over the 2 amazing candidates that pretty much came out of nowhere. Illinois 9th, we have Kat Abu-Ghazaleh, and Florida 7th, which is actually my district, we have Kinter. She is phenomenal. I'll tell you about her in a little bit, but first, I've got some clips from Illinois 9th Democratic primary that I want to show you, Volcy. You haven't seen these yet, so I really want to get your reaction on these. Take a look at the first clip.
Oh, definitely. Let's get into it.
Let's meet our main panel in the order they appear on the ballot. Daniel Biss. Mr. Biss is in his 2nd term as mayor of Evanston, and prior to that, he served in both the Illinois
I was thinking,
Senate,
who does he look like, man?
Lurch Newsom right there.
Laura Fine. Ms. Fine is a 2nd-term member of the Illinois State Senate. Prior to that, she served in the House and as clerk of Northfield Township. And Kat Abu-Ghazaleh. Ms. Abu-Ghazaleh is an independent political analyst and influencer who has worked for Mother Jones, Zeteo, and Media Matters, among other outlets, and she is originally from Texas. Thank you, everybody, We have a lot to get to tonight, a lot of candidates, but we do appreciate you being here in this all-important race. So,
Nah, I don't know any of these people yet. You did tell me that one of them is the APAC candidate.
You're right. We have one APAC candidate, but Mr. Gavin Lurch Newsom over here, he tried to court APAC. So he sent them like, hey, we should meet up and we should talk. And I guess they had to sit down and they talked and nothing came of it and he left. And so he's trying to position it as like, well, I listen to everybody. No,
the one of those I listen to everybody thing.
You were trying to get APAC money and it failed, and now you're pretending to be the anti-APAC candidate. But
yeah, man,
we have an anti-APAC candidate.
You tried to trick off, bro. Now you tried to trick off, and now it ain't work.
We've got the anti-APAC candidate here. Watch this clip.
Ms. Fine, your opponents have talked about AIPAC a lot, the Israeli lobby. They've reportedly supported a group called Elect Chicago Women. They've spent upwards of $1 million or more in this race, ostensibly supporting you and attacking your opponent, Daniel Biss. Do you accept the support from AIPAC?
It is an independent expenditure. It's dark money.
Blah, 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 bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. You notice how she didn't say yes or no?
Yeah. It's all just bullshit.
It really is, but Kat comes in at the end.
Ms. Abu-Ghazaleh into this. We did get an email from 9th District resident Stephen Levin. He sent us a tweet.
Wait, real quick before we get
go ahead
to
and
that.
respond.
This is the exact type of hypocrisy that people are sick of in politics. Over and over again, the lying, the bickering over who likes AIPAC more. The idea that you can separate yourself even after meeting with them, even after pushing an organization that supports this administration and that is supporting a genocide is not a group you should meet with. And frankly, both of you are trying to push policies that even if you're supporting the Block the Bombs Act, have a lot of very precarious and dangerous implications, such as anti-BDS legislation, such as not conditioning certain aid. We need to ensure that we are following our own laws and not lying about who we are or who's supporting us.
Okay, so speaking of Israel and Palestine, Ms. Abu-Ghazaleh, we gotta.
She's a firecracker. Like I love that. This is what we need and much more on our politics.
Yeah.
Folks calling out people for their hypocrisy. Folk calling them out for basically meat riding the lobbyists. You know what I'm saying? Like we need people to do that. You know what I mean? And this brand of we know that the boomers are gonna go away soon, right? They're just gonna die off, and then after that, it's going to be millennials who basically run everything, and after that's gonna be Gen Z and Gen Alpha. And I'm happy to see younger people politically engaged. That's what we need. We need a fresh perspective, you know what I mean? And one thing people have always said is that there needs to be a retirement age for Congress.
Yeah.
And I don't like to be have it sound ageist, but at a certain point, your ideas are going to be completely out of touch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And at a certain point, we have to realize that you worked for the constituency, not the lobbyists. But this was one of the biggest things that I was afraid of when it comes to Citizens United, because now, without these huge lobbies, without the dark money, you know that you cannot win a campaign. Like these dark money people are going to spend 20, 30, 40, 50 million dollars to not make sure that you don't win your seat.
Yeah.
Because it's better for them. And when it comes to AIPAC in of itself, not only are they supporting a country that's committing a genocide, but it's not for the benefit of American people, it's for the benefit of a foreign country. And I get the foreign country is our ally with friends like that who needs enemies, but still, like is like this is benefiting y'all's in your country. Yeah, I mean, there is no I don't know of any other. There might be foreign lobbies, but AIPAC is the only foreign lobby that I know that has this much control over American government. And again, people who are Jewish, who are anti-Zionist Jewish, they got to deal with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just insane to me. But yeah, I love her. She's a well, I don't love her. You know what I mean? I got a wife, y'all. I got a wife. I don't love her, but I love what she stands for. You know what I mean? And I love her brand of politics.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you haven't seen anything yet, Volcy. I know your sign-off, you really like to say fuck ICE, so I've got to show you this one.
Definitely.
Specifically, Mr. Biss, if no ICE, how does the nation enforce federal immigration law?
I've supported abolishing ICE for years. I came out for that in 2018, a time when, thank God, things weren't as bad as they are now, but they were really bad. And by the way, the writing was on the wall, because what we should not have is a military-style enforcement of borders. It does not make sense to have this army marauding around the interior of our country, allegedly doing immigration enforcement. By the way, what they're doing basically has nothing to do with immigration. It has to do with authoritarian power and control and domination and brutality. And so we have to have a humane, reasonable way to do border enforcement that's not about violence and it's not about terror. And ICE cannot be any part of it. If you look at the culture, the legal basis, the broad authorities, and the style of this organization, it's got to be demolished, period.
I can give you specifics.
Specifics.
So we need to, first off, abolish and prosecute ICE and DHS. And we return DHS's responsibilities to the Departments of Justice, of State, of Treasury, of Transportation, all of these responsibilities that were taken from those departments. We return them there, and we build an immigration system similar to what we had before ICE, but even better with more federal workers. We need to fully abolish and prosecute ICE. We need to repeal the Patriot Act. We need to lift refugee caps, and we need to offer complete amnesty and citizenship to any immigrant here who has not committed a violent crime. Additionally, we need trials. There is no moving forward without justice. Stern words for Greg Bovino aren't enough. Body cameras aren't enough. We need people willing to put everything on the line, not when it's politically convenient, and not have their hands in their pockets.
Let me ask you this. If ICE has information...
And she is on one. She is on one. Like, man, fucking all of that. All of that. Whenever I say fuck ICE, that's exactly what I mean. You know what I mean? Because I've always said the same thing. Body cameras are not enough. You know what I mean? We got to go beyond body cameras. We need body cameras that, of course, you know, people are with privacy concerns and all that good stuff. That's why they allowed them to turn it off. But, like, those aside, body cameras that can't be turned off, prosecution of people who committed assault, robbery. There are ICE agents who literally committed robbery. I mean, like, stopped the teenager, took his phone, and sold it. That's literally robbery. You know what I mean? Like, definitionally. You know, so it's like those people need to be prosecuted. The people who killed Alex Preddy and Renee Good, and there was a black man that they killed as well, and it's crazy because his name slips my mind right now. All those need to be prosecuted as either manslaughter or murder too. Yeah. Or murder too is manslaughter, but they need to be prosecuted. You know what I mean? Exactly. It's these things that need to happen. We need to return. People have whenever I've done my debates, people have asked me if we abolish ICE, then what will we turn into? I'm like, I always ask them, what year were you born? And the reason why I ask that is that if they were born after 2001. Then they don't realize that we had something prior to ICE.
Yeah, INS.
It was the INS.
Yeah.
It was the INS. When I used to live in Miami during on 79th Street, people who from Miami would know exactly what I'm talking about. 79th Street, Biscayne Boulevard was a huge INS building. And you know, people who are immigrant born were around those buildings all the time.
Oh yeah. I
had family members who were not here legally. I was going to the INS building because they had an order of deportation. Yep. You would go to the INS building and say, hey, I have this order. What can I do to stay into the country? They're like, okay, you gotta do this, down the third. All right, cool. We'll stay your order. You have court on this date. You have a social date? Yeah. No, I don't have a social. Okay, go to this appointment. This is where you get your social. And then if you didn't do any of that, guess what? Knock, knock. You're gonna get out.
There is one more. Well, we've got a ton of clips, but I think we only have time to just show one more clip.
Ms. Abu-Ghazaleh, what about the state of Israel? Do you support the state of the right of Israel to exist as a state?
I think that this question is said as if it doesn't exist. What we need is to ensure that any solution, whether that is a two-state, a single secular state, whatever it is negotiated not by America, but by the people that actually live there, by Israelis and Palestinians. This is, you know, my great-grandfather had a hotel. And when they were expelled, he carried around the key ring to every single door in his hotel till the day he died. He was buried.
And he lived in Palestine?
Yes, my father's side is Palestinian. And if someone came to me and said, you could have the hotel, but you displaced 300 people, I would say absolutely not, because trauma begets trauma. But I think it's really important that any solution has full civil and legal rights for everyone living there, regardless of their ethnicity, their religion, and that is decided by the people who actually live there, because we spend so much of our time as a country interfering in other countries and saying that we dictate how they live, and it's just made places worse.
All right, so Palestinian American, 2 Jewish Americans on this panel do believe there is an anti-Semitism problem
Absolutely.
in the United States.
And I've devoted my career to fighting it. I cover the far right. Conspiracy theories are inherently rooted in anti-Semitism, which is why it's so dangerous to align with far right donors, because they're pushing the Great Replacement theory, which has inspired almost every mass shooting of the 21st
What about
century.
anti-Muslim?
We're definitely gonna get into what she said that last one, because I definitely love that. But yeah, 100%. Like, she's absolutely correct. Any solution has to come from Israel, Palestine, right? It has to come from them.
Yes.
I agree with that. And the thing is, I'm also annoyed at the question of, do they have a right to exist? Of course, Jewish people in themselves have a right to exist.
Yes.
You know what I mean? One thing that I've always said is, and it's a little controversial, is that no state has a right to exist.
Correct.
You know what I mean? That includes the United States,
Yeah.
because the United States are not Americans, right? Americans themselves, we have a right to exist. But the United States as a country is just an entity. It's a legal entity.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Legal entities aren't people.
Well, I think it's one of those water wet debates, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like the government is the one that says we will protect these rights, but the government doesn't have any rights,
Yeah, exactly.
right? The government itself has no right to anything at all. It's just a mechanism to make sure that the people have rights. So I 100% agree with you. I don't think any state has a right to exist. I do think that people have a right to self-determination.
Make sure you subscribe. We have a brand new content dropping weekly. We just dropped season 2, episode 1 of Critical Mass with Jovan Bradley, and here's a preview.
And what led you to want to get involved in the union organizing effort?
Well, to be honest, I feel like I had no choice, especially once I got fired. But before that, I felt like I had to protect my job. And, I love working at Sherry's, but I have more than that. Like, for the past 5 years, I've been building a very loyal online community who I love dearly, and I also have big goals of touring with my band someday, which I'm in the very early progress of. And what this contract would be saying, especially around the intellectual property clauses, is that the ranch could argue that they own all of that, like my name, my music, my entire likeness. And as much as I love working at Sherry's, there is a point where it just becomes asking too much.
Yeah.
And I can't work somewhere that's going to own far more than what I am there to work for.
Yeah.
So my initial involvement with talking to the union was to save my job because I want to work there, but I could not under the terms that they wanted. And I reached the breaking point when I was following my union's instructions with this contract, that they were finally getting to the point where they were like, okay, you have to either sign or leave. So I followed the union's instructions to go ahead and sign the contract, but write the letters UD, standing for under duress, next to every signature. And it's fine, you should be protected. And I checked with everybody. I checked with the union. I checked with the Discord organization that we had. And I got confirmation that that's what we were doing and we'd be okay. And within minutes of me starting to do that, I got called into the office and I was told, like, hey, we heard that you were doing this. We're not going to accept the contract like that. So you can either sign without under duress, because their argument was you're not under duress, you're free to leave, or you could just leave. And during this conversation, I started recording this on my phone. Nevada is a one-party consent state as far as in-person conversations. not over the phone, but in person it is. And also in this office, everything is already being recorded with audio and video anyway. So I was not recording anything that they did not have themselves anyway. But I went ahead and put that video conversation in the Discord chat. So 1, people could see it, and 2, so it could go to whoever may be able to use it.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, I can't sign this contract, so I was leaving voluntarily. They brought my bins of stuff out because, you know, we live there when we're working there. So they're kind enough to let us keep stuff on the property. But I packed that up in my car, and it didn't really set in at first. Like, 'cause at that point, I was leaving willfully, but I put in the chat what had happened, and immediately, like, people were thrilled that I had gotten this recording because it had just proved this entire situation was, in fact, under duress.
All right, and welcome back. So y'all remember to subscribe. Jovan Bradley, shout out to you, bro. But we're going to move on to our next story of the day, and I'm not sure if you know about it, but the DNC actually did do a dissection, basically an autopsy of why did they lose the 2024 election to Donald Trump.
Oh, I'm curious about that. No, I didn't read into this at all. I know it was on your topic list, so please educate me. What's going on?
All right, so the DNC went ahead and did an autopsy just to see what happened,
Okay.
what was going on, why did such an intelligent, beautiful, I said well-spoken, but intelligent, beautiful woman.
You can say
you
that.
know?
I can't. Right?
Intelligent, beautiful black woman who is basically worked in all 3 branches of government,
Yeah.
overqualified for the position,
100%.
still lost to the carrot, right? So The Carrot by Rob Schneider.
Donald Trump is a carrot.
Rated PG-13. So it's like, what happened here, right? Yeah. And one of the key things that they found, surprise, surprise, was the position on Israel-Gaza.
Really?
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah, they lost key voters in several demographics. The progressive wing of the party, young people, and Muslim Americans in a swing state, which was Michigan, which was she lost, right? So the thing is, what happened is that what kind of still annoys me with the Democrats is that they did not put this report out, actually. It was hidden.
It was leaked.
And it was leaked, yeah.
Oh, wow.
They leaked this. The report was leaked.
So they don't want to be honest with themselves.
They don't want to be honest with themselves.
Oh, come on.
They don't want to be honest with them. They don't want to get called out for the fact that the progressive wing of the party was correct
as always,
and telling them, like, listen, you need to take a harder, more basically a harder stance, more hardline stance about this issue, because
a stance that centers justice.
Right?
Let's
Exactly.
be clear, because that's what this is all about. It's justice for the Palestinians and what they've gone through.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we want, right?
Exactly. That's what we want. You know what I mean? And the thing is, like we said before, Israel-Gaza has become a flashpoint of the left.
Yes.
And the thing is like, I don't know what it is, because people have always said this all the time. It's basically a meme in leftist spaces where we say Democrats refuse to learn their lesson. Like, every single time, we always tell y'all, listen, these centrist people do not interest us.
Mm-hmm.
Move to the left. We don't want more of the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
And I always bring it back to 2008. Obama was the most left candidate at that point, because the things that we're talking about now, he was talking about back then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, living wage, maternity leave, paternity leave, parental leave, basically.
Medicare for all. Well, the precursor to Medicare for all.
Yeah.
Single-payer healthcare. Universal healthcare. That was his 2008 campaign, right?
Campaign.
Yes, he moderated himself on it, walked it back, became public option, and then Obamacare. But he did start out.
He started out with guns blazing. And what's funny about this is that Obama won so hard that we were celebrating the club that night. I
Yeah.
remember.
Oh, I remember too.
I remember.
Celebrate good Obama. Come on.
It was crazy because that same night I went to what was that strip club name? I went to the office. You know what I mean? I went to the office and all night they was playing My President is Black by Young Jeezy.
Yeah.
All night they was playing that song. And let me tell you, every stripper made a lot of money that night
I
because
bet.
we was out there throwing it. I'm talking about the boys from the block.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just sold some drugs last week. Like, yeah. Yes. Black president, you know?
Yeah.
And he went so hard on that platform.
Yep.
Just on that platform. And it's one of those things where I go into like urban communities and I talk to the people and I see what their issue is. You know what I mean? And it's not just, you know, crime and stuff like that.
Right.
It's also living within dignity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Living decently.
Yes.
Living wage. Healthcare affects them. They're like, yo, my grandma can't afford her insulin no more, bro.
Yeah.
Like they're always talking about stuff like this. So he won on that platform. So yes, and like you said, he moderated once he got in. And that's what people got angry about. We don't want you to moderate. Go full tilt. You know what I mean? And when it comes to Israel Gaza right now, it's a flashpoint. You either APAC or you're not.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, ain't no middle.
I agree.
Because again, we bankroll a genocide. Okay? So it's either APAC or not.
Right.
So when this came out, it's like you're refusing to learn your lesson. This is what literally probably cost you the election.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, everything else we were willing to vote for you just because of harm reduction.
Yeah.
You're a centrist, and we know that. You're a capitalist, and we know that. But you're gonna cause less harm than Trump.
Right.
But the fact that you won't take a hard line on I'm not supporting a genocide is now you're losing people.
Yeah.
Now you're losing people. Now, of course, a lot of these people for some reason went for Trump. I don't know why the fuck I did that.
That's wild.
That was wild. I
That
don't
is
know
wild.
why the fuck I did that. Because he told y'all from the beginning he wasn't gonna do nothing. He made it clear. You know what I mean? So that's wild. I don't know why the fuck I did that. But at the end of the day, it's like this is what demoralized a lot of people. You know what I mean? So it's all about shifting to the left, and I hope in 2028 y'all learn y'all lesson because Mamdani won. We have a whole bunch of leftists winning.
Oh yeah,
in special elections.
Well, I mean, we just saw a leftist dog walk a bunch of. Well, I mean, to be fair, the other two are fairly progressive on paper, right? But seeking APAC money, but she dog walked them in every interview. She dog walks them. I went to the Florida 7th event with Marielana Kinter, bro. Let me set the stage for you, right? So we're in this museum, okay? Everything's all set up. I'm listening to her talk. She moves into Q&A. You know, people start asking like the usual questions, and she's kind of going around the room. Gets to me. Oh, you know, sir, what's your question? I look her dead in the eyes and I go, should billionaires exist? Tell me what the first word out of her mouth was.
Well, you see,
it was no. And then she explained why.
That's amazing.
Do you know how refreshing that is to hear?
Amazing. That is amazing.
You ask a direct question, should billionaires exist? That is a yes or no. And then the person, the candidate, gives you a yes or no immediately. No hedging, no bullshit, no fancy words. It was no, they shouldn't exist. This is why they shouldn't exist. This is how it would make them not exist. Done.
Boom. Done.
And let me tell you, the entire room fucking clapped. So, and this was this was out in like the Enterprise area, right? Like up in Deltona. You know, these are rural folks or semi-rural folks. They typically lean to the right. There was a dude in overalls, okay? Right?
Yeah,
like everyone, when I say every single person in that building was clapping, every single person in that building was clapping. There was, so that's what the people want. She's also anti-APAC. She doesn't take corporate PAC money. She's for universal health care.
Let's go.
And let me tell you this. Do you know what she did as a profession? Y'all are going to flip. She was a supervisor on a nuclear sub supervising the reactor.
This should be our president. What the hell?
That's what I'm saying.
This should be our president, y'all.
I get to vote for her. I'm so listen. I went home and I immediately changed my registration back to Democrat so I can vote for her because Florida's a closed primary, and I was mad after the last election and I switched to NPA. But I immediately switched back. I volunteered. I told anything you need at all. I will put up 1,000 yard signs. I will knock on 1,000 doors, And yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes, but I'm really hoping she pulls through.
You know, something funny that you said about this being a rural area.
Yeah.
One thing that I've noticed is that one thing that I've always said is that the people who are the most primed to go left, to be revolutionary left,
Yeah.
are people from the hood and people in rural areas.
100%.
Because they know, they see the impact of what billionaires do to their communities. They see the impact.
Yeah.
Like people in the hood see all these, like for example, up in Memphis, they see all the data centers coming up and ruining their water. They see that these corporations dump toxic waste into their water, and they see that the infrastructure gets shitty because it goes to these factories that don't even pay them much. Yeah, I mean, people in rural areas see these agribusinesses just gobble up all these family farms. Yeah, I mean, they see that happening. So these are people, and not only that, they see that the fact that there's one doctor for every 50 people around where they live. Yeah, I mean, and not only that, they still got to pay out of pocket for their healthcare costs and everything like that because the jobs around the area don't pay that much.
Yeah.
So they're primed to understand that universal healthcare needs to happen. Billionaires shouldn't exist. We shouldn't be sending money out to another country when we have problems in our own country. You know what I mean? We should be fixing these roads here that's causing accidents everywhere. We should have. America has the wealth to do national Wi-Fi. We have that.
Yeah, we do.
There should be Wi-Fi everywhere.
Everywhere.
You know what I mean? We have the technology to do that. We have the expertise. We're just not doing it because these little telecommunication companies will lose their money if we do that.
Yeah, I mean, they've had monopolies for I don't know how many decades. Between the telephone systems, the cell tower systems, the running cable. And I get it. Not everybody can just run their own cable, right? But maybe the solution is not monopolizing private companies that have a profit motive. Maybe we, the people, should get together and pool our money and resources together to make sure everyone has fast internet. What a novel idea. Why wouldn't anyone think about that? That is so crazy.
You know what's crazy? What I found out about antitrust, when antitrust was used on AT&T, I think it was back in the 80s.
It was.
AT&T actually held back technology for the answering machine.
Really?
That's what came out.
Wow.
When they used antitrust on AT&T, they found out that AT&T actually had the technology for the answering machine.
For the digital one, right? Not the device that we used to have at home with the tape that you had to flip when the tape ran out of space.
Ran out of space.
Yeah.
Exactly. Matter of fact, I think it was that one. Yeah.
Okay.
It was that one, but because they had that for a while.
Okay.
They actually had that for a while, but they held back that technology.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? And what you said as well, digital one too. They held it back. Wow. You know what I mean? They held it all back. But it goes back to the point of people saying, capitalism creates innovation and everything like that. It's like, no, all it does is that people are going to be afraid of competition because capitalism is all about owning a resource to make profit.
Yeah. It's about consolidation. It's about wealth and power. That capitalism, since its inception, its formal inception, and even, whatever you want to call it, predating it, mercantilism, whatever, right? It's always been about consolidating wealth. When the Spanish set sail for the New World, what did they do? They took all the gold and brought it back. Well, that is wealth consolidation. What did the British do? The same fucking thing. It's all about concentrating power and concentrating wealth. That's capitalism. Innovation. People innovate. People all over the world, different thoughts and ideologies all throughout history have innovated. People were innovating before money. What do you think? Money came before the wheel? Before agriculture? You're crazy.
It's like, do y'all think, our Neanderthal ancestors, Ugga Thugga, said, I need 5 sticks in order for you to get this circle thing to push it? That's not what he did. All right, that's not what they did, all right?
No.
I mean, it's ridiculous. What I've always said, especially when I have these conversations and debates, I've always said that, listen, y'all, the mother of invention is not currency accumulation. It's necessity.
And when you make currency a necessity, that's where you get confused. And that's where you think it's capitalism that's moving it forward, but it ain't.
It ain't. Yo, let me tell you just a small little tangent to tell you, just to, take home what I mean. Over in Kenya right now, I think it's Kenya. It's either Kenya or Nigeria. There's a money transfer system called M-Pesa. And to use M-Pesa, you know what you need? Guess what you need?
I don't know. A firm handshake?
A phone number.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, wow.
That's it.
Okay.
You don't need a bank account. You don't need Cash App. You don't need Venmo. You don't need any of that.
Okay.
All you need is a phone number, and you can exchange money that way.
Sounds like Kenya to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right? Because didn't they just recently come out and say that anybody can immigrate there? There's no visas, no bullshit.
No,
I
this is
think
bullshit.
I think their reasoning, which I love, by the way, I love how they framed this. Because obviously it's nuanced. There's a lot of reasons they did it, but the way that they framed it for the public was, this is where humanity was born.
Mhm.
We all deserve to be here. Please come and see the homeland.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so beautiful.
It's beautiful. Oh yeah, and Kenya is beautiful. Like Nairobi, I've actually looks over a savannah. So it's like if you stay in one of the hotels there, you can actually see the giraffes and all that. It's beautiful.
Amazing.
But I definitely want to go there. That's on our bucket list for me and wifey. But
Hey, we don't need visas. We can just
we don't need visas. Just
go.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like, this was invented by people who are, in poverty, and a lot of them are not banked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so because they're not banked and they can't carry cash everywhere.
Right.
A kid who's into tech, Africa is such an untapped place for talent. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
untapped. But like, he just basically invented this code where you can exchange money through a phone number.
Oh, so it's like open source.
It's open source.
That's insane. That's so cool.
And the thing is, someone like a person who's Nigerian, she works in tech, she actually learned about this, and he said, hey, I'm going to bring this over to American tech companies. And guess what they said?
How do we make money off of this? Yeah.
It's not scalable.
Yep. That's the term they use. It's not fungible,
It's
right?
not fungible.
Whatever
It's not
bullshit.
scalable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that showed us something. It said, the innovation in America is innovating only for wealth accumulation.
Yes.
It's not innovating for necessity or solving any problems. Because
Yeah.
being unbanked is a huge problem over in Eastern and Western Africa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they all have to carry cash a lot of times. And not only that, the banks are not trusted
Yeah.
for good reason. And the thing is, when they invent something like this, yeah, that's scalable, because there are a lot of people in America right now who are unbanked.
Yes.
Homeless people, you'd be surprised how many homeless people do have phones,
Yeah.
but they can't carry any cash around. But if you can exchange currency through just a phone number, that's extremely scalable in the United States. But the Silicon Valley is not looking to solve any issues anymore. They're just looking to make money. Now, Silicon Valley used to be about that. It used to be about solving these problems. That's why MySpace became a thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
How do I connect with my friends and have a website that's unique to me?
Yeah.
MySpace. Facebook, how do I connect with my friends that I knew back in elementary school that was my best buddy, but we went to different middle schools? Facebook, I can find him now.
Yeah.
And look, he's only 3 miles away. I didn't even know. I can meet up with my old high school buddy. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it was all about. It was all about solving issues. How can I put my opinion out there in a nice, funny way that's quick and easy? Twitter. It was all about solving issues. They don't want to solve issues anymore.
Yeah.
It's always a new water app that tells you to
Well,
remind you to drink water.
So
you're supposed to do.
So I think I definitely agree with you on MySpace and when Twitter first started. Obviously not the must Twitter, but
When it first
got to push back a little bit on Facebook, because Facebook started out on how to rate women.
It did.
Okay, and
You're
then,
right. Right. It did.
And then the piece of shit Zuck started making his moves and taking over the company, and then the enshittification absolutely began, right? The enshittification but I think that was planned from the start, right? As soon as he realized, oh, I can make a lot of money, enshittification, let's go. Ads, we're gonna change the timeline. It's no longer your friends, it's now what we want you to see. I'm not going to give Zuck the benefit of the doubt on that. I will, however, give Tom. Tom's great. We love Tom.
We love
Tom. He's still my top 8, right?
Yeah, he's still in my top 8.
And then
Tom.
Jack Dorsey's original Twitter. I thought that was great.
That was great.
It was a great platform to see what journalists were saying in real time. Before all the ads and before all the enshittification, definitely before Elon Musk.
Better before Elon, exactly. And matter of fact, I think that's what YouTube was about. About
YouTube
too.
as well.
YouTube was about
It was
that.
just about what the first video was like. Dudes at a zoo.
Dudes at a zoo,
Like,
yeah,
come
exactly.
on, yeah.
It has billions of views, you know what I mean? And the first comment is still the most liked comment on YouTube. It just says interesting.
Yeah.
And it has 5 million likes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was literally the first YouTube video, the first video to upload on that platform. And that's what I miss old YouTube, man. It was such a place to be. It was a social media. You could inbox people. Yeah, I mean, you could actually respond directly to their video. Now you got to tag them in the video. Now it's all about the advertisers. It's just crazy, you know what I mean? And the inshitification, just that's what capitalism is really all about.
Yes.
You disrupt the market and then you inshitify it and you shove things down people's throat because you want to make more advertising dollars. And it like from that to we kind of got away from the DNC thing, but from
That's right.
being it upsets you.
It does.
It upsets you. The DNC things upsets you because again, we bankroll a genocide. I'm gonna keep saying this so people understand it. Yeah, I mean, it all pisses you off. And speaking of things that should piss you off, let's talk about America. You should be pissed. Take it away, Steve.
America, you should be pissed. Last week on the full first day of Ramadan, a 19-year-old American citizen named Nasrallah Abu Saim was murdered in the occupied West Bank. He was born in Philly. He'd been living in a village of Mukmas, helping his father tend to livestock and cultivate olive trees. On February 18th, roughly 30 mass Zionist settlers, some of them armed with M16 rifles, raided his village to steal sheep and goats. Nasrallah tried to stop them, and that's what got him killed. A Zionist shot him in the thigh with an M16, severing his main artery. And while he lay on the ground bleeding out, settlers beat him with metal rods and clubs. IDF terrorists accompanied the terrorist settlers into the village, and of course, did nothing. They did not arrest anyone. They did not provide any medical care. In fact, they fired tear gas and stun grenades at the Palestinians who were trying to help. They blocked the ambulance from reaching him. His neighbors had to carry him out of the village on foot. And by the time he reached the hospital, he'd been bleeding out for nearly 2 hours. Doctors heroically fought for 4.5 hours to try to save him. And at 10 p.m., Nasrallah Abu Sayyam was pronounced dead. He was 19 years old and an American citizen. I've got some clips for you to watch. If you don't want to watch them, I'll have a timestamp. You can skip past them. So when this was all over, the Zionists walked off with more than 300 of the village's sheep and goats. Now, let me tell you what your government did about it. The State Department said, and I want you to really hear this, the U.S. Department of State has no higher priority than the safety and security of U.S. citizens overseas. That's it. That was the statement. That's all they said. Right? It's the same bullshit statement they gave when Saifullah Musalet, a 20-year-old American from Tampa, was beaten to death by settler terrorists with bats and sticks in July of 2025. Same words. Copy, paste, send, move the fuck on. Because that's how much they care about non-white Americans. And so a few days later, they updated it by adding deepest condolences and said that they expect a full, thorough, and transparent investigation. Investigation by whom? By Israel? The country whose settler terrorists did the killing? The country whose military terrorists stood by and watched it all happen? The ones that fired tear gas and prevented ambulances from going in there? They're gonna fucking do it? Fuck you. The country that indicts settler terrorists in only 2% of cases? Nah. No. They're not gonna do fucking shit. And so that's who we're expecting to trust to investigate the murder of an American teenager, right? Because as of today, February 27th, there have been 0 arrests, 0 charges, and 0 consequences. And the United States has not opened its own investigation. Now, we can't talk about this without mentioning Mike fucking Huckabee, our ambassador to Israel, the man whose literal job it is to represent American citizens and American interests in that region. On the same day that Nasrallah was shot and killed, Mike Huckabee was sitting down with Tucker Carlson in an interview where he said that Area C, which is the majority of occupied West Bank, where Palestinians live, where Nasrallah lived, quote, is Israel. And when asked about Israeli expansion, Huckabee said it would be, quote, fine if they took it all. Now, 14 Arab and Muslim nations condemned those remarks. The State Department had to privately call Arab governments to say Huckabee's views are his own. He's the fucking ambassador. His views are the goddamn message. Since Nasrallah's murder, Huckabee has posted more than 40 times on Twitter. He's amplified pro-Israel terrorists. He's defending the genocide in Gaza. But you know what he hasn't posted? A single word about the American citizen who was gunned down by armed robbers. Not one fucking word. The American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee said the U.S. ambassador to Israel is engaging in empowering and allowing for actions that lead to the targeted lynching and killing of U.S. citizens. Dawn, the Democracy for the Arab World Now, released a report yesterday documenting at least 14 American citizens killed by Israeli soldiers or settlers since 2003. 14 Americans, and in every single case, listen to me, every single case, Israel has failed to hold anyone criminally accountable. I will say it again. 14 Americans were killed, 11 since 2022, 0 accountability, and not a single person was charged for murdering an American citizen. And you know what Donald Trump did on his first day back in office? He revoked the sanctions that the Biden administration had placed on violent settlers on day 1. Dawn's Charles Blaha, a former director at the State Department's Office on Security of Human Rights, said it plainly. When President Trump revoked settler sanctions on his first day in office, he sent an unmistakable signal to settlers and to the government of Israel that it is no longer a priority of the United States. So here's what I need you to understand. This isn't complicated. An American teenager was murdered by armed settler terrorists who raided his village to steal sheep and goats. The Israeli military terrorists stood by and watched. They blocked the ambulance. No one has been arrested. Our ambassador says nothing. Our government issued a copy-paste statement, and we continue to send billions of dollars in military aid. The same military provided cover for settlers who killed an American kid. And that's why, America, today, you should be pissed. Thanks, me, I guess. Yeah, that was America, You Should Be Pissed. If you like that segment, if you want me to keep doing it every week, I'm always pissed about something. So I've got the topics. Let us know in the comments below if this is something you want to keep going, and I'll work on another episode for this week.
Definitely.
So both Volcy and I had to really do a deep dive into Iran. Okay, that's the big story. That's probably why a lot of you are here to hear this take and what we've got. And so when it all happened, because it's such a short amount of time, this happened on Saturday, Sunday. There are just so many angles that we kind of each had to take a different approach to kind of give you all the holistic view. So I'm going to let Volcy start off. He's going to educate me on everything I didn't look up. And then I'm going to go over some stuff that I found. You guys are not going to want to miss this. So take it away.
All right. So, as we all know, we're basically at war with Iran. President of peace, everybody. President of no new wars, everybody. So we're at war with Iran from the bidding of Israel, of course. Now, here's the thing. I took more of the internal political angle of this. What I've been seeing is that every time I've said this all the time, that whenever America gets involved in regime change, especially in the Middle East, it's a quagmire every
Yeah.
single time.
Yeah.
It never works. All right. It works for the short time, and then just like how we talked about in the last segment, enshittification.
Yes.
That always happens. Now Iran has three options where it's going to go down. It can either go down complete social civil disarray, like we saw in Libya. It could go down the path of civil war, like we saw in Syria, or things could get worse. And what people don't realize is that as bad as Khamenei was, there are people who are worse than him. Because in Iran, even though being actually homosexual
Right.
is illegal in Iran.
Yes. There is an
how-
exception for trans
Trans
folks,
people,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
There's an exception for them because like it's a weird kind of interpretation of Islam.
I mean,
don't know what it is,
interestingly enough,
but-
the Middle Eastern version of like the ADA, right? Like the or the American Pediatrics Association or the Endocrine Society, right? Their version of it, I think it's MENA. They recognize trans people.
Yeah.
Right. So like you're talking about one of the most conservative places on the planet, recognize sex and gender are different, recognize trans people exist. And it seems to me like at least up until now, and hopefully through the future, Iran still sees trans women as women and trans men as men.
Amen, exactly.
Yeah.
You would hope so, right?
I do hope so.
Yeah, but
at a minimum, right?
At a minimum, exactly. But there are leaders who will be against that.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
come
There are people who are very, very hard line. Yeah, and Iran is a lot different than all these other countries because even though it's officially majority Muslim,
Right.
unofficially, when you ask people, when there are studies who ask people what their actual tradition is, you'll see there are people in Iran who are actually not really religious.
Really?
There are
That's kind of shocking to me. So did you find out like a percentage wise? Tell
Yeah.
me about that.
about 33% of Iranians or Persians will say that they're not religious.
Wow.
Another-
Openly.
Openly. They're not
Wow.
religious at all.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Now, when they say they're not religious, you know how here in the United States, when someone says they're not religious, but
Yeah.
they believe in God,
Oh, sure.
it's usually still within the Christian mind frame. Over there's the same thing. They're not religious, but they believe in God. It's usually within the Islamic mind frame.
Okay,
You know what I
fair
mean?
enough.
But they're not religious. You know what I mean? And the other 33% are religious, but you'll see some progression there. Like accepting LGBTQ people.
So,
You'll see
so
that.
it lives on a spectrum there. as
It
well.
lives on a spectrum, and they're not as socially conservative as we tend to think. There are also plenty of other religions. There are other people who are basically open, outright atheists over there in Iran, and it's a lot bigger than I thought. About 15%.
Wow.
That's
That's very impressive.
Very impressive. That's way bigger than I thought. So the society is way different. This is 90 million people,
Yes.
and the society is way different. And you can tell that they don't agree with their leadership, just like we are. We don't always agree with our leadership. And the thing is, what's going on is that within Iran, they do have secession, right? So I've always said this. That's one part. There's the population, and then you have to understand the rally around the flag effect. You know what I mean?
Right.
For example, George Bush still has some of the most popular support he's out of any president because of 2001.
Right.
What happened to 2001? 9/11.
Right.
So his popularity went from 47% to 90
Yeah, I remember that.
right after 9/11.
Oh yeah, I was in that 10%.
Exactly. Me too. I was in that 10%. It went from 40 to 90. You know what I mean? So over in Iran, you're gonna see the exact same thing.
Okay.
I mean, there's gonna be a rally around the flag effect.
So tell me, who right now did you find are like the main contenders for leadership?
Yeah, I got this written down.
Yeah.
And I had to write it down, y'all, because I can't.
These are
pronounce
hard
their
names.
These
y'all.
are hard names. To
We're
to-
sorry.
yeah.
I wish I could speak every language in the world, but
Me too.
unfortunately not.
All right, so we actually have the son of Khamenei,
Okay.
right? And he's still very controversial, but he's a hardliner. He's a hardliner. His name is
More hardline than his father, or less hardline?
just
than his, or about the same.
about the same.
Okay.
About the same as his father.
Okay.
So his name is Moshtaba Kamani.
Okay.
He's basically in line of secession. Now the reason why he's controversial is because Iran has always been against dynastic secession. Basically, you don't get the position just because your dad was there.
Interesting.
But he's still popular.
Okay.
That's the thing. He's still popular and he's a hardliner. Then there's the interim right now. His name is Ali Reza Arafi. He's also a hardliner. Now, the thing is why people think that he's probably going to be next is because he's also within the Revolutionary Guard. He's a cleric.
Okay.
Basically, Iran is essentially a theocracy. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So the Revolutionary Guard is basically the clerics, the priests, the imams. Basically, that's their part of their government.
So are they a military wing as well, or
They have a military wing. So
Okay.
there's a military wing and there's the religious wing, the clerics, the people
I
who
see.
enforce the blasphemy laws,
Okay.
enforce
okay. I got it.
enforce the hijab for those who are part of that sect of Islam.
Got it.
They're the ones who enforce all of that. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So he's a cleric. He's the interim leader. He's also a hardliner. And then there's Gholam Hussein Masani. He's also a hardliner, and he's part of the judiciary branch.
Okay.
Basically, he's the judiciary chief. Yeah, I mean,
So he's like Chief Justice.
he's like chief justice,
Okay.
exactly.
Got it.
And then there's the one who's more moderate. He's a moderate person. Yeah, I mean, wants more, wants to normalize relationship with the West.
Okay.
Wants to not enforce the hijab as much, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm.
He's a little bit more moderate. His name is Musad Pez. Oh, Jesus Christ! I'm so sorry for any Persians watching. I'm so sorry. His name is Pezisikian. Jesus Christ, I got that so wrong. I got that so wrong. I'm sorry, y'all. I do apologize. But yeah, he's more of a moderate.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, now a lot of people don't think the moderate is going to win because the Revolutionary Guard, they're the one who control the secession. So the moderate's probably not going to win. But one thing that I've said is that so from the beginning I've said that whenever America gets involved in regime change, it's a quagmire, and we've seen it on what happens. It can go down the path of civil war, disarray, or everything is fine. They just go to the next person.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, for example, what would happen if, and I'm not saying I want this to be the case, FBI don't come looking at me, please. What would happen if our president were to be assassinated?
In Minecraft.
In Minecraft. Yeah, exactly. What happened if that were to happen? All what happened was that JD Vance would become next. That's
Correct.
what would happen.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the same thing over in Iran. Now, what I think that our administration was trying to do was that if you take out the head of the snake dies, right?
That might have been their logic. I
That-
could see that.
I
yeah.
think that was their logic. That's not gonna happen here. That's not gonna happen here because we saw it happen with what's his name, the one in Iraq, Saddam Hussein.
Yes.
That's what happened.
Yes.
We saw it happen with Gaddafi,
Yes.
right? So so they thought that okay, this is gonna be the same thing in Iran. That's not what happens. They have a secession. They have a completely different way to handle things over there, and you can see it with a Trump insider actually said it on a news clip that I saw the other day. It's like Trump is kind of frustrated with Iran because they're not capitulating. Essentially,
Right.
they're not following what he says, but he's learning in real time. You just can't bully nations, right? That's not gonna happen. And not only that, we're continents away. They're not really afraid of what's gonna happen unless you put boots on the ground, and you're gonna lose your entire base if you do that, which has kind of been happening.
I
You know
mean,
what
I think we're down. The last approval poll that I saw, I think we're down to only cultists.
Mhm.
Those are the only people left that are when they pick up the phone and answer the polls.
Mhm.
They're the only ones who are still supporting Trump, or
The
the
only
ones
ones left.
deep in the cult.
Mhm.
That 27 to 30%.
Mhm.
That's all we're seeing.
That's
is,
all we're
is,
seeing.
is what he's getting at, and if he continues to escalate, it's only going to get worse. He might actually lose cult members, which I know I've seen a lot of like TikToks and YouTube videos where people are getting out of the cult. It's just, it's hard to gauge how often that's actually happening, right?
Mhm.
I mean, maybe I've seen 5. If we're talking 5 out of, I don't know, 30 million people or however many million people, like it's really not that much. But I would really like to see his approval ratings drop into like the low 20s.
The low 20s,
Then we can have confirmation like, okay, the cult's finally going away.
Yeah, the cult's going away.
And they're losing their power.
Yeah, exactly. And And the thing is with all this, it's kind of funny because he lost the Hodge twins. I never thought that would happen.
Who?
The Hodge twins.
I don't know who that is.
They're
Who's
they're
that?
they're a set of twin comedians. You know what I mean? They used to do a lot of like reactionary content
Okay.
on YouTube, and of course they went down the MAGA route. You know,
Of
it's
course,
because
as they do.
because it's they're
It's profitable.
it's profitable.
It's profitable.
It's profitable to be a black conservative. It's very profitable to be a black conservative. You know what I mean? And that was proven in real time with that girl who pretended to be a MAGA and like she was able to get $100,000 from donations. You know what I mean?
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, yes. I mean, I'm not even mad at her. Yeah, y'all deserve to part with y'all
Hey,
money.
right?
Yeah. When it comes to this entire issue, right? What I've been seeing is more on I think you'll talk more about this as well.
Yeah.
The geopolitical aspect of this, because people thinking that Iran sold oil to China and Russia. So what a lot of people are thinking, at least the people are more on the right wing side of things, thinking that Iranians are going to be taking their country back. They don't the secular Iranians don't control the military, y'all. They don't. So thinking they're going to take their country back, all you doing is calling for a civil war essentially, which is probably not going to happen. I'll tell you that much, because there's going to be a secession. It's not going to happen. But the second thing that we're seeing is that people are saying that it's a checkmate on China and Russia for their oil, essentially. You know what I mean? Because Venezuela sold to China and Russia, and Iran sold to China and Russia. Y'all, that's still going to happen. That's still going to happen. And I think you're going to be reaching into this too, because it's all about the petrodollar and everything like that.
Oh, yeah.
But y'all, they're still going to sell to China and Iran, because guess what? They have secession. So what Trump wanted, or what the hardliners or what the warhawks wanted, is likely not going to happen. But you took the geopolitical aspect of this. What do you think?
Let me tell you guys, I went on the deepest dive, one of the deepest dives I ever went on this subject, and it felt like every time I was done, I found like a new little puzzle piece that was like, oh, this goes here, and oh, this goes here. I spent most nights up till way later than I should have been, just reading, watching videos, all sorts of stuff. So this is what I found. So let me set up the framework for you first. This goes all the way back to World War One. Okay, so World War One breaks out due to old world bullshit, right? Franz Ferdinand gets killed. There's a Serbian nationalist movement. Like, it's very, kings and emperors and those kinds of motivations. But what they found out during World War One is oil is king. Oil wins you battles. Oil powers your cities and feeds your people. That's what oil does. So, when we get into World War II, yes, Hitler was an awful sociopath, hell-bent on power, but the moves that he made were for oil, because he also knew oil wins wars. That's why there was the North Africa campaign. That's why he turned on Russia. I mean, we all look at him turning on Russia and going, oh, that was dumb. But from his perspective, fucking oil, right? So, moving through the back end of World War II, not quite when it was over. At the time, Britain was the world reserve currency. The pound was the world reserve currency. With Europe ravaged and Britain broke, the United States came to the table and was like, oh, we'll loan you lots of money, but there's a condition. And that was called Bretton Woods. And basically what it was is it was the United States saying to Britain, we're the big dogs now, sit the fuck down, right? So they had this whole, all these world leaders and all these economists all got together in one place and talked it through. John Maynard Keynes brought up, whoa, maybe we shouldn't do this, right? Pax Britannia, was a failure, right?
Yeah.
The world reserve currency was failing, and now you want to do another one? That's dumb. What we should have is a neutral clearinghouse currency called the Bancor that everybody can use, and nobody is going to be in charge of it, so nobody can weaponize it.
Right.
The United States said,
Fuck
you,
off.
buddy. This is our shit. So that's where the dollar hegemony started. It was right at the tail end of World War II. Not quite when it was over, but kind of towards the end. I believe it was like 1944.
Yeah.
So
because we were good around that time.
Yeah. So between 1944 and 1971, things were pretty awesome in America. We had this world reserve currency. We didn't have to rebuild after the war. We had all this manufacturing used during the war that we could use to make more products and then sell to the world. But then something happened in 1971, and that was Richard Nixon took us off the gold standard. So now this world reserve currency that was expressed in dollars but backed by gold, no longer backed by anything. Yeah. And there was a 3-year period between being off the gold standard and then getting onto what's now known as the petrodollar. And so this was the brainchild of Henry Kissinger. Yes. Hillary Clinton's BFF, Henry fucking Kissinger, comes in and he says, look, the only thing that's backing this fiat currency currently is our military might, and that ain't strong enough. We have to tie this to something tangible. So they decided to tie it to oil. So Kissinger cuts a deal with Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabian history is really interesting. The House of Saud, had ebbs and flows in terms of power, but after World War II, they snatched that power back, and so now they're really in charge. This is when the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia becomes the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So he cuts a deal with the Saudis and basically says, hey, we're going to bring in all American infrastructure. We're going to bring in American companies. They're going to take out the oil. We're going to give you a cut. All you have to do is keep all your wealth in dollars. That's all we ask. Now, over time, Saudi Arabia is in charge of OPEC. They're kind of in charge of the oil game. And over time, they start buying this American company, right? This Arab American company, slowly, bit by bit, 25%, up to 50%. Eventually, they ended up owning the entire thing. Now, based on what we've been talking about, you go, whoa, wait a minute, Steve. Why wouldn't the U.S. get upset with that and attack Saudi Arabia? I mean, they just basically stole a country. But they don't care. Because Saudi Arabia was still what? Owning their wealth in dollars and selling their oil in dollars. And that's what really matters to the United States. So having the petrodollar allows us to basically have the world finance our debt. That's how we're $38 trillion in debt, and it doesn't feel like we're $38 trillion in debt. It's also why when we try to export shit, it's way too expensive because the dollar is so overhyped because of all the treasury bonds that all of these other companies hold and all of the debt that all of these other these countries hold. So hopefully that sets the stage for you. I wonder if you got any. That's a lot of info and a lot of time. Do you have any questions before I get to the next?
Oh no, I'm a student of history, so I actually knew about all this. I was just letting you go.
Fuck yeah. Then I was talking to y'all. So if y'all have any questions, put it down in the comments. Okay, so then, and you touched on this too. So first fell Iraq I guess the tension started in 2000, but 2003 is when we invaded Iraq.
Correct.
So what happened in 2000 that upset the United States? You want to take a guess?
Someone got off the petrodollar, didn't they?
Yeah, damn straight. So Saddam Hussein in November of 2000 switches from selling oil in dollars to euros. 3 years later, U.S. invades, takes him out. I think 2006 is when he gets officially taken out. What was the first act of the new government?
Put the oil back in dollars.
You got it. Then Libya. So Libya is a little bit different because Libya, they weren't trading in a different currency, but what Gaddafi did propose was a Pan-African currency that could be used by all African nations to trade with each other and the world as well. And that's what they were going to trade their oil in. Well, Hillary Clinton came, saw, and he did.
So, that is the land of unconfirmed.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
So Gaddafi's killed October 2011, and that Pan-African currency, the gold dinar, gone. And that was also not a fiat currency. It was going to be backed by gold. 2017, Venezuela starts accepting yuan, Chinese yuan for oil. And then in 2024 joins BRICS, and we all know what happened.
What happens, yep.
Guess what the first action of I guess the vice president, now president of Venezuela, guess what she did? The very first thing she did?
Back to dollars, didn't it?
Back to fucking dollars. So, yeah, I mean, this is a pattern, okay? And there are some outliers to this pattern as well. Russia's been trading oil in ruples, but I think that's a whole different beast, and a whole different can of worms. And also you have places like Afghanistan, right? Like it wasn't about oil in Afghanistan. I have a theory. It's on shaky ground. I'm not saying this is 100% true, but this is kind of where I'm leaning. Is that the United States saw that Afghanistan was rich with minerals, right? With minerals and things like cobalt, lithium, that kind of stuff. I think they were just too early on it, because now that stuff is worth a ton. All these microchip shortages and stuff is because we're missing a lot of these precious metals, and that's what Afghanistan has right now. But back in the day, 2001, 2003, that era, they tried to get Americans to come in, Europeans to come in, build the infrastructure like they did in Saudi Arabia to extract all this wealth. They couldn't find anyone. They gave up, and China ended up coming in I think it was like 2019 or 2019 or so, and then started building it out. And so that doesn't really fit the mold. But if we're looking just at who tried not to sell oil in dollars, they all got attacked. Every single one. And then so that brings us to Iran. But they've been doing it since 2012, and the reason why Iran is different than Iraq, than Venezuela, is because they have a military. They've got 90 million people. Like they're not in, like you said, they're not in as vulnerable a position. So the United States kind of had to take a step back on that and let it slide until right now.
And the thing is about Iran, because Iran has uranium. Yeah, I mean, now with uranium you can build a nuclear warhead if it's enriched enough, but if it's not as enriched to make a nuclear warhead, you can still make a dirty bomb.
Yeah.
So I think that's what gave America a lot of pause as well. Not only that, it's of course, it's like we said before, Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, I mean, and we all know that a war between China, Russia, Iran, and NATO and the United States, it would devastate the planet. So MAD. I think that's what held them back a lot.
Yes.
But because we have Mad Dog in office that doesn't actually think about the consequences of his actions, that just thinks on marching orders, now we have this crisis. You know what I mean? And y'all, I'm not sure where the clock is right now, but it's very close to midnight.
Yeah.
All right, it's very close to midnight. And one thing I wanted to add within your history, one thing that happened back in 1954, is that we overthrew a democratically elected prime minister of Iran for the same reason.
Yes.
Because he wanted to, and this time it's kind of crazy because he actually was going to sell it in dollars.
Yes.
The issue is he was going to nationalize the oil.
Yeah.
He was going to nationalize the oil in order to sell it to his people. It's for it to benefit our Iranians, not to benefit everybody else. He didn't want, Western private companies benefiting from the oil. He wanted Iranians to benefit from the oil. And that was a problem because around that time, Red Scare was going on. You know what I mean? Or it was pre-Red Scare, I would say.
Yeah.
That was going on. Being afraid of the big bad wolf of communism.
Right.
Which that big bad wolf is now coming back to bite us in the ass because now there are more people supporting stuff like this than not. So just like how you said, this all goes back to the petrodollar, back to oil, back to money, back to, hegemony. Because if the petrodollar falls, United States will likely start to become a big ass developing country essentially.
Well, hold on. It's not so the prognosis isn't that bad. Okay?
Not that bad. Okay.
No, it's not. I mean, look, is it going to be shitty for us? Like, yeah, we're not going to be as comfortable, but I mean, are we going to be starving and homeless? Like, probably not.
Probably not.
I
Okay,
think, based on my research, Michael Hudson, he's an economist. He's the man. Go listen to him. He's awesome. He's someone who started writing about this in 1972. He's updated his book multiple times over the years, and his theories have proven correct. He was one of 8 people who predicted 2008 market crash. Okay, this guy's fucking smart. So the way that he kind of theorizes this is like we would be in a position of like 1950s, 1960s Britain. Right, so the Pax Britannia, the British pound as a reserve currency, gets transferred over to the Americans. They do go through some economic hard times, but it's not developing country level bad.
Okay.
So
it doesn't sink to the ground. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And so what he actually thinks might happen with this is a bifurcation to where, yes, a lot of people will still be trading in dollars, but people might also be trading in yuan. And a lot of it is dependent on who's in charge of the United States. I think if you had someone like Kamala Harris in charge, she would probably be more for, okay, let's play nice with everybody, and we're not gonna throw temper tantrums every time things don't go our way, and which would allow more diversity. And China is working on something, and we'll talk about that a little later. But yeah, I do want to keep diving into a little bit about why this is different than like Iraq and Libya and Afghanistan, and it's because of Peter Thiel. Yeah, I know. His name gets brought up a lot. I fucking hate this guy. Anyway, so Peter Thiel and his Dark Enlightenment think of them as the new guard, the new oligarch guard.
Yeah.
They're coming in, and what do these guys like to do? They say it all the time, oh, we're going to come in and disrupt. That's their favorite fucking word is, oh, we're going to come in and disrupt. And yeah, that I think is what they're trying to do here, right? They've installed J.D. Vance as the vice president. They're in Trump's ear. They're in many world governments installing surveillance technology. You have assholes like Sam Altman partnering with the Department of Defense. I will not call it the Department of War. The Department of Defense to have automatic decision making into murdering civilians. Let's be honest, that's what they're using it for. And yeah, I mean, this is the new guard coming in. The old guard are dying off. These were the guys who backed Bush and Cheney and all those. And so when Bush and Cheney were doing their thing, they were putting the petrodollar first. They were saying, this is what makes America strong. This is what makes America great. Halliburton, let's put our own companies in there. Let's make a lot of money for ourselves. Like, from their perspective, right, they were truly American oligarchy first.
Right, exactly.
The new guard, not so much, right? As we've covered in other videos, and you can check them out on the channel, these guys don't believe in America. They don't even believe in democracy.
They don't.
So I think, because when I was looking into this, I said, this doesn't make sense from a Bush-Cheney perspective. Attacking Iran doesn't make sense. It's actually weakened the petrodollar doing this.
Yeah.
Which shocked me. I was expecting to see, oh yeah, no, this is going to strengthen it in this way, this way, this way. Everything I saw, everything I read, the petrodollar is going to hurt.
It's going to hurt.
And then I was starting to think, well, why would they want that? Why that doesn't make any sense, because Iraq and Libya, that was all to strengthen the petrodollar.
Right.
And then that's when I found out, oh yeah, that's right. Peter Thiel doesn't want America. They don't want democracy. They want this network of independent city-states with their own digital currencies. Look, guys, if you're gonna try to replace digital currency replace dollars with this digital currency, the petrodollar's got to go.
It got to go.
It's got to get out of there. So to me, this action looks like a changing of the guard.
Yeah.
Old guard out, new guard in. And this new guard doesn't really care about the petrodollar. I don't think it benefits them in the same way that it used to. And the reason I believe that is I think the petrodollar was doomed from the start, and I'm not the only one who thinks that. Michael Hudson thinks that as well. That was in his his revision to his 1972 book after the petrodollar was created in 74. I think he did a revision in the 80s or 90s. And he said oh, yeah, no. tying one global currency that's not neutral as the reserve is destined to fail no matter what. And so I think they see the writing on the walls, whereas the old guard is like, well, look, I got maybe 2 years left. Let me just rake in as much money as I can, and then I'm out of here. The new guard's looking at it as like, yeah, it's not sustainable anyway, so let's blow it up now.
Blow it up.
Let's get it out now.
Yeah. What's scary about these guys, the Dark Enlightenment people, is that they're hyper accelerationists.
Yes.
They want things to get shitty very, very fast so they can swoop in and fix everything. And just like how you said, they don't care about America. They don't even care about countries.
No.
They care about their own power, which means they want to set up an entirely new system of governance with them on top. And the crazy thing about this is it's not even a new system of governance. It's an old system with new basically paint, essentially.
Yeah.
It's basically a 60s Camaro with candy paint.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. Yeah, I mean, the box Chevys that you see down in Miami with the rims and the candy paint on it. It's one of those things. They want to be the new aristocracy.
They are. They essentially already are.
Essentially already are.
Yeah.
So, and like in a few years, they don't want it to be like the United States of America. They want it to be the
Amazon land, Palantir town.
Exactly. That's what it's gonna become.
Yeah.
And of course we were warned about this. It's kind of crazy because sometimes life imitates art. We were warned about this. You ever seen Don't Look Up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's basically the same thing. And they've already, I think, I'm not sure who it was, but they've already talked about space mining. Yeah, I mean, so
sure.
because y'all have to understand the asteroid belt has more. There's one asteroid in the asteroid belt that has more gold on the entire planet than the entire planet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
More gold than the entire planet. The asteroid is literally made of gold. So y'all really think that they're not seeing that and seeing cha-ching? They're seeing cha-ching, which is kind of crazy because if it has more gold than all the gold on the planet, gold is worthless at that point.
Right.
But if they can figure out a way in order to make the entire planet theirs, to get like how you said, Amazon land and Planetary Town, profit is still the motive. So if you have to get off the planet in order to make more profit, that's exactly what they want to do.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, and they want to keep capitalism going as long as possible until we essentially get to Elysium. I'm not sure if you've ever seen that movie.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah,
it's wonderful. Yeah,
that's what they're trying to do. And the thing is, when I first saw Elysium, even to this day, I didn't understand it. Why did they want to keep people poor so bad? You have everything.
It's so they can look down on them, and like that's not a cop out. Like I truly believe that. And I mean, this is plenty of evidence. You can see it everywhere. Certain people feel a need to look down on other people.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. I don't know what it is or why it is. I mean, maybe it's well, I don't know. Let's not say that. Maybe it's learned behavior. That's a better term. Maybe it's learned behavior. Maybe it is, some mental issue in the brain. I don't know. But like, it's very evident. And I would have to even say, like, it's 100% learned. Maybe there's a genetic component to it. But yeah, I mean, that's how you get people to go along with apartheid in Israel and then not call it apartheid.
Not call it apartheid. Exactly.
And
this is why I think a lot of them are investing so much into AI. I think the reason why they want to accelerate into AGI is because there was a Johnny Depp movie. What was it called? Transcendence, I think. Mind uploading. All these guys have talked about it before.
Oh, the transhumanism movement?
Transhumanism
Yeah,
movement. Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, sure, but I think if you think about it for more than 2 seconds, whatever copy of the brain they make is not you anymore. It diverges from you. The second that copy is made, that is not you. That is another thing.
It's another thing. It's a copy.
Completely different. So, no, I don't think... I mean, maybe they can, cyborg themselves. But even then...
Yeah, because that's what I'm thinking. Because... at the end of the day, these guys have, this is my personal conspiracy theory. These guys have, egos the size of New York City, right?
Yeah.
So, what I think they want to do, I think they want to accelerate AGI.
Yes.
In order to get the technology to do mind uploading, because it's like at the end of the day, Peter Thiel and all these guys and Elon Musk, they're like what in their 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
Give them I give them probably another 50 if technology and medicine takes better, maybe another 60 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think their ego is making them to the point where if we can figure out a way to stay around for the next 200, 300 years and not just leave a legacy, we die and everything like that,
Right.
and never see anything around, I think it's my personal conspiracy theory, and I don't sometimes take my thing for it. But beyond just setting a Planeteer town, I think they want to set up, worship Teal, basically.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well,
And-
they do want to be CEO kings and treated like gods.
Treated like
There's no
gods.
question. But I think that falls into the same trap of like, oh, we're going to terraform Mars. One of my favorite things that Neil deGrasse Tyson's ever said is, if you can terraform Mars, you can terraform Earth. Why would you go all the way to Mars to do it? And it's like, I think that's kind of the same type of deal here. It's like, yeah, if you can figure out how to upload your mind, you've probably already figured out how to extend the body for extended periods of time. So, like, yes, do they want to try to live forever? That part I 100% agree with. Do I think that their main motivation is to become a cyborg or to upload their mind? Like, probably not. I think it's really just investing into biotech to keep their bodies alive as long as they can.
Exactly.
At least for now. I mean, maybe in 100 years that changes, but at least for now, we still don't know so much about the human brain that trying to make a copy of it is just... That's like trying to terraform Mars without being able to terraform Earth. But that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
No, I got you. That's just my personal conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
I've always
It's a
thought...
fun one, though.
It's a fun one, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I've been seeing them like, what, they want to rush into AGI so bad. They want to make themselves gods, man. They want to do that so bad. Because people have already started a relationship with their chatbots. So if AGI ever becomes a thing and it's smarter than any other human, better than Einstein at physics, people are going to start worshiping that AI. Yeah, I mean, and I think the Elon Musk and the Teals of the world, I think that's what that's probably the ultimate goal. You know what I mean? To make themselves gods. That is my personal conspiracy theory, though. Yeah, I mean,
it's
a fun one. It's a fun one. That's my personal one.
Two more things that I would be remiss not to bring up in this discussion. We got to talk about China and we got to talk about MBS in Saudi Arabia.
We do.
So we got to think like, okay, does the petrodollar going away somehow hurt MBS in Saudi Arabia? All their wealth is in dollars. If the dollar suddenly crashed to zero, they would be dead broke. They would have zero money. Okay, right now their family is worth about $1 trillion. MBS himself is about 600 billion. Now, to put that into context, all of the American oligarchs are about 5 trillion. So I'm richest family, but not richest coalition, right, of people. So how does he get out of it? Well, you remember the Riyadh Comedy Festival and the LPGA golf stuff?
Yep.
He's buying assets.
Yeah.
And yes, he's buying them with dollars, okay, or maybe he's buying them with Riyadh that's backed by dollar, whatever the case. But he's buying, and he's been buying real assets. He's doing that line project, right? So all of these things that he's dumping money into are assets that will retain some kind of value when or if the dollar goes away completely,
Right.
or gets weakened, because then he can turn around and sell these assets for another currency that's kind of on the up. That's his way out. He's been building an exit ramp. So the new oligarchs who don't give a shit about America, who don't give a shit about the dollar, because they also own a lot of assets. Elon Musk buys Twitter for $10 billion. Well, he still owns Twitter. That's an asset that he can sell in a different currency.
So yeah.
So that's his out. So that already explains MBS and why he's like friends with Peter Thiel and why he's kind of going along with all this shit. And so that made a lot of sense to me, because my first concern was like, wait, why isn't he upset at all this? But once I started, he's been doing all this westernization shit to buy assets.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
He's buying assets.
And then China is a big player in this too, right? Like the United States and Iran doesn't exist in a vacuum. We've talked about this just in this conversation a lot, that a lot of it is people trading in yuans and people trading with China and all these things. And yes, Trump attacking Iran directly hurts China. Same thing with Venezuela. It directly hurts China. So what China's trying to do, they're not trying to replace the dollar. And that's not explicit either. So let me explain. So President Xi Jinping did come out a few years ago and say like, oh, China's strong and we're going to be the world currency. But if you look at what they're actually doing, they're not positioning themselves to be the reserve currency. They don't want to be the reserve currency because I think they realize being the reserve currency doesn't work long term.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It didn't work for the British. Certainly doesn't work for the United States. It wouldn't work for them either. So they're actually, funnily enough, kind of tying back into your Kenya story, is they're trying to build a digital currency, and it's not Bitcoin, and it's not pretend, fungible tokens and all that shit. No, it's like an actual you just need a phone number and you can boom, boom, boom. Money. So they're not trying to position necessarily the yuan, although would they prefer that it was the majority of trades? Sure. But it's not the hegemony. So their idea is like, okay, so right now, for example, if the United States, if Argentina and Spain wanted to trade oil, they would have to both convert into dollars, trade, convert the dollars back.
Right.
There's a middleman. The middleman is us, the United States. That's how we benefit. That's how the petrodollar benefits us, benefits the oligarchy. China's idea is, we don't need a middleman at all. We'll just do bilateral currency swaps. So y'all just come up with the exchange rate you want. Our system facilitates that trade so that y'all know it's gonna, no one's screwing anyone else over. We're just facilitating, taking a little tiny cut from that. And that would be that system. So that's China's play here. They're not trying to take over the role of the United States. They're providing an alternative, and that's something that Thiel and the gang want to stop.
Yeah.
That right there to me. And again, this is just my hypothesis on it. I spent a lot of hours looking into this, but I'm not an economist. I'm not, a politician. I have no experience on the global stage. It's just everything I've seen, and a lot of it from experts are kind of pointing to, this is about China, first and foremost. And why it's about China is because China is trying to introduce something that cuts the United States completely out of geopolitical trade and puts things in the hands of the countries that want to trade with each other without having to use the United States.
That's a lot.
I know.
That's a lot. That because people have been talking about conflict between the United States and China for a while.
This is that conflict.
Yeah, this is that conflict.
Yep.
And who knows? Could this turn that conflict from a Cold War to a hot one? Who knows?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. No. I don't think so. I mean, unless unless someone's absolutely crazy pants in the White House, Trump is, right, but he does not have the support to be that crazy pants to start launching nukes or send in troops. Okay, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, right.
But no, I think China's been playing the slow game with their Belt and Road Initiative. They've been making allies all over the world. I mean, after Trump kind of pissed off Europe's even looking at China. Canada's looking at China as a trade partner. So they've been, I think from the Chinese perspective, it's, let America fuck up. They've been fucking up for a long time. Let them keep fucking up. We'll chill over here and we'll wait until the time is right to up our game, to level up, so to speak. No, China doesn't have to fire a single missile. They don't have to shoot a single shot. They don't have to do anything. They just have to sit and be patient, and that's what they're doing.
Because they're following their philosopher Sun Tzu. Never stop an enemy
from making mistakes.
Making a mistake.
100%. And look, let's be realistic. There's no way China's getting their troops onto our soil. There's no way we're getting our troops onto their soil and surviving. Not only an ocean away, even if we had a teleporter, it doesn't matter. There's a billion of them. There's so many.
There's too many of them.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we're not with it.
No, there's no way. Listen, we couldn't beat Vietnam. We couldn't beat Korea. Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, we beat Korea back, but we couldn't defeat North Korea. So loser, right? Who else? Iraq, loser. I mean, that was a failure of a war. Afghanistan, loser. Yeah. Every war we've tried since World War II, fucking losers. There ain't no way we're going against big dogs like China. That's dumb. No. This is a slow game for China. They're playing it very well. I wish they were going more towards the let's introduce a Bancor, a neutral clearing currency, because that's not anything you and I would use. We would never see that. That's all that is. Exactly. It's an idea that there's a neutral currency that world governments use to clear debts with each other. and trade, and that's it. We wouldn't have to touch it. We wouldn't even have to think about it. It would just be. It's just there as a tool. You know, it's kind of like a Linux operating system. It's open source and for everybody. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to put in your little code or illegally download it or whatever, like Windows. It's supposed to be neutral for everyone. They're not going that route. Their actions have been pretty clear. They kind of want this like mishmash of things. Maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows?
I hope it does. I personally hope it does, because like the American century of hegemony, in my opinion, it needs to be over for be over.
I know.
It's because our government has caused untold amount of death and destruction. You know what I mean, our corporations have caused an untold amount of suffering and death and destruction. You know what I mean? We have created a class of people who are basically the new aristocrats and have bankrolled a genocide. You know
Multiple, by the way. Multiple.
Israel is not the only one. You know what I mean?
Multiple. Oh, no. I mean, the genocide in Yemen, conducted by Saudi Arabia. I mean, we funded that, too.
Funded that. You know what I mean? And our so-called allies over in the UAE are doing one in Sudan.
Yep.
You know what I mean? People who
That's
look like
right.
me. You know what I'm saying? So it's insane. Like, in the corporations over in the Congo, we've bankrolled horrid things. You know what I mean? So, and all for the status of, you know, it's in our interests to make the money. Yeah, you know what I mean, it's in our interest to be on top, to be the world hegemony. For what? I don't care about being the king. I don't know about anybody else.
I'd rather not be the king of shit mountain. Okay,
Yeah.
like
It's like, what? Sometimes I want to get into these people's heads and ask them, or just sit down in a room and ask them, what is all this for? And
McDonald's. McDonald's and Diet Coke. That's all it's for.
I want my McDonald's. We need a McDonald's in Lagos. We need McDonald's in Kinshasa.
Some Starbucks.
We need a Starbucks over in Riyadh. We need those.
We need a Starbucks across from a Starbucks and a McDonald's in the Starbucks surrounded by a Walmart.
Yes. We need a Starbucks in Mecca. We need a McDonald's.
Right in the black box.
Right inside the black box. Go order some fries while everybody's walking around and shit.
Listen, to our Muslim watch, I apologize. That was not a funny joke.
I'm sorry. Man.
So, okay, this episode's going long, and that's okay, because this is a long episode. But before we wrap up, we do want to go over the Texas Senate race that's going on right now.
Right now.
We've had the live results. If you see me looking in this direction, we've had the live results playing.
That's what I've been doing.
And we're watching. So Volcy and I had a really awesome conversation the other night. And we kind of found out that we're on the same side, but we're on the opposite sides of this particular race. So we're going to talk a little bit about these two candidates. Now, for the record, we love them both. Either one, I don't care who wins, right? One of them's going to win this primary, and that's wonderful. They're both qualified. I think they both have really great policy, but we're talking about splitting hairs. Splitting hairs here, okay? So he's going to kind of make the case for Jasmine Crockett. I'm going to make the case for James Talrico. You know, why I think his where he sits on the policies makes him a better candidate. Volcy's going to do the same for Jasmine Crockett. And then when we're done kind of talking, we'll see how far we are with the votes. Right now, it's like 38% reporting in. Y'all watching this already know who won, you know, but we'll kind of have a live reaction of like who's kind of in the lead and where they're in the lead at. And Volcy knows a lot more about Texas than I do, and maybe he can explain to me why certain areas are more for her or more for him. So, so I wanted to start off with healthcare. I actually think that Talrico is weaker on healthcare than Jasmine Crockett. So what's your assessment about Crockett, her position, and maybe tell us a little bit about why we actually both think on this one that she's better.
With this one is like just like how you said, I think everything here is something that I've always said, always supported. This is something that always needs to happen, single payer, Medicare for all. You know, definitely that covers dental, covers vision. Mental health is a big thing because I'm going to become a counselor. You know what I mean? So it covering mental health is always a huge thing. For me, it's a win across the board.
Yeah.
You know, over in Talrico's side, just like how you said, it's essentially the same thing, you know. It's hard for me to even say like, you know, which way I lean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but like I love, let me say I love them both. But Crockett, like everything here that I've seen, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think for me on this point, Tallarico fails because he's not directly for single payer. What he supports, he calls Medicare for y'all, which I think is wonderful framing. I think that's the perfect type of framing you need in Texas. But it's one of those like, oh, we're gonna put a government option in, a public option. Which, like, is that better than what we have? Like, sure, it does force these insurance companies to be able to compete with something at a base level. Will it help? Yes. Will you get more people on healthcare? Yes. Would healthcare costs be cheaper? Yes. But is it the best option? Absolutely not. Jasmine Crockett takes this one.
Yeah,
100%.
100%. Yeah, we need single payer. That's it. And not only that, the Cover Act allows them to bypass the Republican governors who didn't expand Medicaid.
Exactly.
Who were
just like, oh, poor people, medicine. No, we're not doing that.
Yeah, man. Especially us living in Florida where they didn't expand Medicaid.
No.
And I've seen the results of that because I used to work in the hospital system, and I've seen people, you know, desperate.
Yeah.
Desperate. They say, like, listen, I have nothing. I slept on a bench last night. I need some medication. Sign me up for Medicaid. And I have to tell them, listen, you're 40 years old, you're able-bodied, you're not, and you don't have any children. And even if you did, that child would get it and you wouldn't. It's heartbreaking to see. Yeah, I mean, I've had to try to fight to get them disability because I have to say, okay, let's say you have schizophrenia or some shit, I don't know, and then I try to get them that just for, it's we need single payer. That's all. We need
desperately need single payer. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to Israel Palestine, this is where I say that Tallarico is much stronger, and I've always said, you know, we said before, there's the flashpoint on the left. I think this is what would cost her votes.
Yeah.
Because on Israel Palestine, she's a lot
well, she
weaker.
takes APAC money. Like, let's just be. She takes APAC money, and so like when I'm talking about splitting hairs, this is the hair I'm splitting. This one issue, right? If she didn't take APAC money, I'd probably support her. I'm just being honest. Like she takes APAC money. She took an APAC funded trip to Israel in 2023. I don't trust her to make the right voting decisions in the Senate when it comes to Israel.
When it comes to Israel, yeah, exactly. And the thing is, like, I definitely understand and feel that. I do think that she'll, you know, when people talk to her, she'll be more open into, you know, shifting that vote because she has criticized what has happened.
Yeah, I think her mind could change. I think she could evolve on this position. I don't think she's locked into APAC ideologically.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. She's not locked into them ideologically. But this one, I never even fight anybody on it. I understand it. Yeah, I mean, once people say that, you know, because she's taking APAC money, I don't really trust her. I'm like, I get you on that.
But to be clear, if I lived in Texas and she wins this primary, I would not hesitate to campaign, to door knock, and to vote for her. Okay, none of this fucking 2024. I'm sitting this out.
Yeah, exactly.
Because my candidate's not perfect. No, don't get it twisted. Yeah. I'm disappointed. Sure. But that doesn't counter out for me, like for a vote from me in the general.
Yeah, me neither. And if you know, I would actually hope like whoever wins this, they would be on each other's campaigns. You know
100%.
And like
100%
saying, yeah, vote for this person because we need to get whoever this. I don't know. I don't even know who the Republican one is. Just get them out.
I mean, let's see how that's going. I mean, we can. Oh, wow. That's unexpected. So John Cornyn is in the lead as of right now, leading Ken Paxton by 2 points. I mean, the race is still not over, but I was thinking Ken Paxton was just going to run away with this. A lot of Republicans in Texas seem to like him. And if it was between, you know, Paxton and either one of these two candidates, I would hope they would dog walk all over him because that guy's a dumb shit.
Yeah, they're gonna dog. So they're gonna dog walk him. Yeah,
I don't know much about this John Cornyn guy. I mean, he may be a MAGA dumb shit too. I don't know, but yeah, either way, I'm rooting for both of them at this point, for Tallarico and for Crockett.
Jasmine. Yeah, it's one of those things where, you know, your kids are playing basketball.
Yeah.
And you just gotta watch them play. You can't really cheer for either
Yeah.
one.
You gotta cheer them both. You gotta cheer them both.
You know, you'd be like, yeah, go ahead. You got that three. You'd be like, oh, but I dunked that. Be like, yeah, you got that dunk. You know what I'm saying? So, you gotta cheer them both on. You can't really cheer for anyone. But let's talk about the Supreme Court. What do you think about that?
So, I mean, this is really going to be, kind of two things that I agree with, and I kind of wish they both adopted each other's point and merged it into their own, right? So Jasmine Crockett wants to expand the number of justices. Tallarico wants to put term limits on them. I think both should happen. I
Both
think,
should happen.
yeah, and neither one of these would be make or break for me. If either one said, we're going to keep the Supreme Court the way that it is. That's not really like a make or break, but I'm very happy that both of these candidates have. I don't know if I want to call it a solution, but have an answer to the way that the GOP, the Republicans, and Trump stole Supreme Court seats. They're saying,
pretty much.
we can kind of put an end to some of this nonsense. So I'm happy with both of them. What's your take on it?
Yeah, me too. I'm happy with both of them, and I do really like, because the reason why I prefer Jasmine's to this is I think it's more feasible to do. I think more people. I think it's easier to do. Essentially, because again, splitting hairs. You know what I mean? Either
really
one
is.
of these, I would say, because term limits for justices. I think that needs to happen.
Yes.
Definitely but will judges themselves let that happen? You know what I mean? So that's why I think filling the Supreme Court, more justices, I think judges will actually let that happen rather than putting terms on themselves.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's why that's the only reason why I leaned Crockett on that one.
Okay.
But I definitely agree with James Tallarico. Like these are splitting hairs. Both of them need to happen. Term limits and
know.
packing the court. They both need to happen. You know what I mean?
agree.
And I hope whichever one gets in, they'll say, "Yup, you know what? My opponent had a good idea. I'm gonna add that to my thing." And there's not such thing as a lieutenant senator. I know there's a lieutenant governor, but it's not a lieutenant senator, right? That doesn't happen.
Not really, but I mean, you do have surrogates, right? You do have people in your corner that go out and fight on your behalf, and that's something that I want to say I hope that they do, but I think at this point I'm pretty confident. Both of them seem like great people, just on a personal level, and them losing this election, it's not going to put them in a sour mood, and it's not going to make them look at the other person and say, ew. I think that no matter who wins, the other person's going to be out there going, we need to elect whomever to beat the Republican. We cannot afford to lose Texas. This is the moment. We can finally do it. Texas has been a Republican stronghold for 30 years. We got this. So that's what I know is going to happen. So the next thing kind of on our list of campaign positions, policy positions, this one is another point for Tallarico for me. And this is the position on filibuster.
Yeah.
So Jasmine Crockett supports, some carve outs for certain things that you can't filibuster on.
Yeah.
But she's not calling to end it. Number one, I hate the Senate. I think the Senate's fucking stupid. Whoever thought of that and put it in our Constitution, fucking stupid. Why should borders dictate? Anyway, that's a rant for a different day.
That needs to be American that should piss you off.
It really should. But James Tallarico actually supports eliminating the way that filibuster is now and putting it back to you gotta stand and talk. I don't mind that part. Right? Do I kind of wish the filibuster goes away forever? Kinda. But I do see the strategic reason for having it there. And if you put the condition that, you're going to have to talk for, 24 hours. No one's going to stand there and talk for 24 hours unless the issue's really important to them. It's one thing to send an email that says, filibuster, lol. And another to stand and talk for 24 hours. So he wants to bring that back. What are your thoughts on that?
Actually, I'm really like that. Yeah. So the current filibuster is like you said, it fucking sucks. Now I do see where Crockett is coming from though. There are some issues where we have to get that, but just like how you said, both of these need to be done at the same time. They need to be done at the same time. Eliminate what it is right now and have certain carve outs for it. Yeah. I'd definitely agree with that. And you're 100% right about the Senate. The Senate is a stupid idea. It doesn't. Matter of fact, I've said this. Both the House of Representatives, it's not just the court that needs to expand. So does the House. So does the Senate. If we're gonna have a Senate, the Senate needs to be 200 instead of 100.
The Senate needs to be abolished.
You think it's gonna be abolished?
Oh my God, I want to get rid of it so bad. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. Why is it that like people?
Why do we have it?
So I guess like you gotta transport yourself all the way back to the 1770s, right? And I think the original idea behind the United States was like these are independent states that share a federal government to facilitate some things. But like over time, it's evolved into something else, and the Senate just it's one of those. It's like the appendix, right? Like it's there. But in this case, it's inflamed, and we're not removing it. Like it doesn't serve a purpose anyway. The purpose was to advocate for the state. The states used to just pick their senators. You didn't get a choice. You didn't get a vote. Like it wasn't a vote of the people. It was the state saying, "This is my representative as the state government to the federal government." But that's just not how shit works anymore.
Yeah,
we vote in politics. Like we vote in senators. Senators campaign not to the governor. They don't say, "Governor, this is how I'm going to help you." They go, "People, this is what I'm going to help." And the minute that started happening, then the Senate just didn't make sense anymore. And also, you got to think the founders who put the system in, I don't think they could have ever imagined, number one, us having 50 states, and number two, the populations between states being so different. Because that's where my problem is with the Senate. It 100%. And sure, you could make it proportional, but then what the fuck's the point? Then just have two houses. Who gives a shit at that point? Right? Have each state have two separate tracks. One goes in this house, one goes in that house, and whatever. But the Senate, right? Why is it that California, 40 million people, gets two senators, Wyoming, 500,000 people gets two senators? That's dumb.
That's dumb.
That's why our country's shit. That's why we don't have nice things. That's why it takes like 70% of people pushing for a progressive thing for it to actually happen. Because without that, we've got all these red states with few people that, you know, they control the fucking narrative, right? Why do we have two Dakotas? We don't need two fucking Dakotas. We need 7 Californias. That's what we fucking need.
Probably.
So, like, sure, could you base borders off a population, divide the Senate equally, and still have them represent the states? Yeah, but that's fucking complicated, and populations change. We saw that from when it was during its inception until now. That's why I fucking hate the Senate. It doesn't make sense. Abolish it. Get rid of it.
Yeah. So we should just have the House of Representatives in its packet.
Sure, you can have two House of Representatives. You could have two different houses, right? And I'm not saying split it Democrat Republican. I'm just saying like have half the seats in one, half the seats in the other. Just to get, you know, just some intellectual diversity, right? You have people here thinking about things one way. You have groups thinking about things another way. I'm fine. Or make it all one. It doesn't really matter. But the Senate is just fucking stupid.
I don't understand why we have the Senate either. I mean, one thing I said about the House of Representatives is that right now it's like, what, 430 something?
435.
We're a population of 330 million people.
Yes.
The House of Representatives should have been about 700. I'll not tell you the truth.
It's a lot. Yeah, I haven't done the math, but it's a lot of fucking representatives. There's actually that's a really popular movement I found out over the weekend.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the questions the lady sat next to me at Marielana Kinter's event. That was one of the questions that she asked was, you know,
we need more representation.
Yeah. Do you support expanding the House of Representatives? And on my way there, I was just, you know, I just throw on YouTube or whatever and just have it auto play. And yeah, there was this guy who's like, "Oh, I'm super big into the idea of expanding the House of Representatives, and by the way, my congressman candidate is proposing that, and I'm gonna vote for him now." And you know, it's like, "Oh, I didn't know that was like a thing. Apparently, it's a thing, right?"
Yeah, House of Representatives.
So you know, when I was able to stop and look at my phone, I was looking through the comments, and it was just everybody, and like, there were a lot of like, "I'm a conservative and I agree with this."
Yeah.
Like, oh, really?
The House of Representatives needs to be expanded.
I mean, hey.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's becoming really popular. Expect to see more people talking about it. I'm cool with it. I think it's fine. I have no problem with making sure that everybody is as equally represented as possible.
Yeah, I think it needs to expand to at least 700, and just like how you said, just split them into two houses. The Senate doesn't make any fucking. The Senate is stupid. It doesn't make any sense, bro. So right now we're at how much of the vote is in? About 45%.
Yeah, about 45% of the vote is in. Let's see if we can get that on screen, please, guys in the booth. Perfect. All right. Yeah. So Looks like James Tallarico's in the lead. Wow, by like 7 points.
That's 7 points.
That's a lot this far in. Yeah, I think he's got it.
We may see Tallarico go up against whoever the Republican is, and I hope if that does happen, let's see if Jasmine makes up ground. But if that does happen, who's the person? John Cornyn, right?
Yeah, John Cornyn seems to be in the lead as well, but only by about 2 points.
About 2 points. Well, that's a tighter race then.
Yeah, it's a much tighter race. I'm actually curious about this map, and I'll tell you why. Houston, huge for Jasmine Crockett, but Austin,
huge for
oh my God, 76% of the vote went to Tallarico. Tell me about that. Why would that be? Being from having spent some time in Texas.
Honestly, and this might sound.
Is it white people shit?
It's white people shit.
I hate it when it's white people shit.
Yeah, it's white people shit.
God damn it!
It is. Houston has a larger black population, much more diverse. And I think Jasmine spent some time in Houston. I said Tallarico, but Austin is more white. Yeah, I mean a lot more white. It's still progressive. But
yeah,
you know what? White progressive. So I think that's why they're leaning more towards Tallarico. It's probably a lot more people who with the it's like you said with AIPAC, a lot more people there because that's the progressive wing.
Okay,
over
that
there
makes sense.
at that part. Same thing with Dallas. How you see Dallas is going more for Jasmine. Dallas has a large black population. But if you look around there, those places, they're more white. So unfortunately in America, this is what happens. You know what I mean? A lot of times they fall along color lines. But y'all, any of them are amazing.
We're happy with any result.
I'm happy with any result. Honestly, any of them are amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I hope like whoever is going to become that, they get on each other's campaign and support each other. Be on each other's staff, you know what I mean?
Yes.
I hope so. You know what I mean?
It'd be huge if they campaigned it. Because, like, let's imagine this scenario plays out the way that we think it might, just given the point spread at this point with 45% of the vote. James Tallarico goes to the Senate race. Jasmine Crockett fights for her House seat, and they campaign together. Imagine the amount of new voters, new young voters they can get out to the polls. And if they can keep that momentum going for another 2 years, right? Tallarico's doing an amazing job in the Senate. Jasmine continues crushing it in the House. Then 2028, they could flip for a Democrat, like on a presidential level. If they Wonder Twin powers activate on this, I really think they can do it.
She might go after that governor.
Oh my God, I hope so. What a change that would be for Texas.
That would be a huge change for Texas, amazing change for Texas.
Yeah.
And I hope that happens, and, Tallarico is right by her side to do it.
Oh, yeah. Or, wishful thinking, she takes the other Republican Senate seat next time.
Yeah.
Have both of them in the Senate.
Have both of them in the Senate.
It'd be over. It would be over for the billionaires.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right, y'all. We're going to go ahead and get out of here, man. That was
Thank you.
A good one for tonight. Long episode. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate everybody who's in the booth. Once again, my name is Volcy. As always, free Haiti, free Palestine, fuck ICE. Every single day, all damn day, and not in a good way. All right? Not in a good way. But we will see y'all later. We do not have an outro yet.